expectations last season. The other one turned out to be Broussard's Clippers, who folded in the second round against the Nuggets. And now questions surrounding Kawhi Leonard's long-term future with the team. A very candid Kawhi met with the media yesterday.
In my situation right now, I'm just focused on this season. You know what I mean? Not saying I'm going anywhere else or staying here, but I'm just focused on the season. And, you know, obviously for, you know, if I stay healthy, the best decision is to decline a player option, but that doesn't mean I'm leaving or staying. I'm focused on the season, like I said. We'll talk about that when the time is right.
So, Broussard, I've heard enough professional athletes give press conferences or interviews where they talk about, we'll discuss this until the end of the season for a long time. Reading between the lines, could this be Kawhi's last season with the Clippers?
First of all, Jenna, you've been spending way too much time with Nick Wright to call them my beloved Clippers. So that's number one.
Beloved.
No, the Kawhi, he's not going anywhere. I guess, yeah, you never say never, okay? But he has wanted to get home to Southern California. He's there now.
Yep.
Where is he going? He's been on 3 teams. Does he really, in the prime of his career, want to move to a 4th? That would look bad. I mean, it looked bad when he couldn't close out the Nuggets in the playoffs. But he would look like a ring chaser, and I don't think that's what Kawhi is. I don't think there's ring chasing in his bones at all. And so where is he going? You're in a great situation. You're at home. You have a second star with you in Paul George. You got a nice supporting cast. You've got a very good coach. You got an owner that's willing to spend as much as it takes to win a championship. You got Jerry West as a consultant. What in the world else could you want? I see no reason at all for Kawhi Leonard to leave the Clippers, and it would be incredibly disappointing. Let me say this. If Paul George fizzles in the playoffs again this year, and Kawhi was really disappointed and really starts thinking, I don't know if he can be my second guy to win a championship, guess what? They would trade him in a heartbeat if Kawhi wanted him out. So, no, I don't think he's going anywhere.
Okay. All right, so a lot to unpack here. You asked what else could he want. I don't know, to maybe play for a team that isn't the 7th most popular team in the city they play in, but I guess that's what he signed up for. So, you know, that's the life of being a Clipper, I suppose. Where could he go, you said? I don't know. Dallas and Miami kept their powder dry for Giannis. He's now not there. The weather in Miami's as good as the weather in L.A. Pat Riley seems at least something I'd consider if I were Kawhi, if this year goes the way it's going to go, with the Clippers once again failing to make the first conference finals appearance in the history of that franchise. But the last thing you said there, Broussard, is the most notable about Paul George. Major prediction number 2 for me on this show. Ooh. Next year, one of the two, Kawhi or Paul George, is not a Clipper. Next season, one of them's gone. Now, either Kawhi because he chooses to leave or Paul George because he's traded. But this team is not going to be better than last year. And last year, they weren't close to being good enough. They lost to a team that got smoked by the Lakers. And I understand the newest $64 million man, Luke Kennard, and, you know, fellow minted $64 million man midseason acquisition Marcus Morris think that that's going to be the difference, along with Serge Ibaka. But it ain't. Serge Ibaka, who was, by my count, the 4th best player on an Eastern Conference semifinalist last year. Wow! Puts him over the top. But what? I mean, I don't quite follow that logic. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're going to get the Serge Ibaka that the Thunder thought they had when they got rid of Harden to keep him 7 years ago, 8 years ago. Maybe that's it. Maybe I'm wrong there. But the other thing, Wilds, that Kawhi is doing here is making sure that any of these cultural changes that Ty Lue might be trying to implement can't really implement them. Because guess what? Kawhi is keeping the screws to him. Oh, okay. You don't want me to live in San Diego? Well, how would you like if I end up? Would you like that, Clippers? When you have no picks left?
No possible
Oh, you don't
way.
think it's a leverage play? You don't think it's a leverage play? You don't think it's keeping the screws to the Clippers, letting them know you better let me do my thing, my load management, my schedule, my practices, because I can leave. He signed a 2+1 instead of a 3+1 for a reason, right? That he did that on purpose. So I'm just taking the man at his word. He doesn't know. He said he doesn't know what he's doing. I don't think he knows what he's doing.
So how do you think these meetings go between Ty Lue and Kenny Atkinson and Chauncey Billups when Kawhi shows up to the plane 20 minutes late? They're like, oh, you're the superstar. Oh, I think like, you know what? One more time, dude, and we're fueling up and we're out of here, and you can drive to Houston.
No chance.
I don't think there is going to
Then
be
he'll leave.
any chance this happens. That's the reason it's out. Nick, it's not out. That info is out for a reason. The info is out to put the screws to him. If it comes out, this is a bad look for him.
The other
I feel like that coaching organization is going to be like, you know what? This is how championships are won. Doing the little things, and I specifically, I love Chauncey. I think Chauncey, you're not going to disrespect those guys where it's feeling like where Doc Rivers was running a loose ship. I feel like their coaching staff is going to get it all locked down.
Okay. Ty was there last year. And listen, I will give Chauncey Billups this. He is without question the best point guard on the Clippers organization. But he's a coach, not a point guard, so that didn't really help him. So I just Broussard, you don't think Kawhi is going to squeeze his pressure points here? You think he's just going to change? He squeezed him in San Antonio to get out. He did it in Toronto, they won, and he did it last year. Why would he change?
I think he is turning the screws on the organization, keeping pressure on them, similar to how LeBron did when he used to sign those one-year deals in Cleveland. However, I think it is to make sure they continue to improve basketball-wise.
That's right.
I don't think it's so he can be late to 75% of the flights. I don't think that's why. I think he's got enough professionalism and enough pride to understand, look, some things do have to change. And if he's about winning, then he needs to be on time for the most part when it comes to the flights. I do think it's about basketball, Nick. Look, let's not rest on our laurels. Let's continue to try to get better and better. That is keeping the pressure on him. But if all of this is about so I can be late to flights, there's a part of me that's like, dude, we ain't winning with you anyway if that is your mentality. Because here's the question about Kawhi. Here's the question, Nick, about Kawhi. And as much as I like him, when he was in San Antonio and won his championship, he was not the leader of that team, obviously, right?
Correct.
He was like a pup. He was probably the fourth best player during the regular season. Then when he won it in Toronto, he wasn't the leader. Both of those situations, nothing was expected of him. Nothing. Last year, the first time he had to carry a burden that LeBron has carried his entire career, I got to win. The pressure's on you to win championships. Everybody's expecting you to do it. He did melt down in that series with Denver. So if this is about being late for flights, calling practice, then that would show he's not the leader you need for championship teams.
To be fair, I am not trying to say that's all that this is about, but I do think having the full control over everything is part of what this is about. But here is what's disappointing. If you're a Clippers fan, as our ace producer Charles Dixon is, and I'm sorry to out him publicly as a Clippers fan, he is great at his job. I don't know if he wanted the world to know he's a Clippers fan. If you are hoping that they can actually be a championship contender and not a fraudulent one as they were last year, you know what I would have liked to hear less of this offseason? Blaming Doc Rivers for everything. You know what I would have liked to hear a single time this offseason? Kawhi or Paul George say, you know what? In the second halves of Game 6 and 7, we had huge leads, and I played terribly. That is, maybe we weren't going to win the title, but we would have won that series if I was better. I haven't heard that quote yet. And so I've heard about we needed more time and we needed better chemistry. And say it, Wilds. Sorry?
I thought Paul George came out and said that. I thought Paul George said that, and then he also
Paul George said that. Paul George said that, and then he was like, "You're using me like I'm JJ Redick, and you know it's all Doc Rivers." And Kawhi obviously has not said much. Jenna, I think it's going to be a little deja vu for the Clippers, but maybe Luke Kennard fixes it. I don't know.
I still love Wild's point. You're putting the screws to me. I'm putting the screws to you. There's nothing better. We got to take a turn back to football now. It was a good night for Juju and the Steelers. Wait till you see what happened in this game. Oh, wait, it wasn't a good night for Juju and the Steelers. Boom! Next, first things first.